things like that, I don't know if they would continue to be a mooring holder, and so you kind of lose that access. But please consider something a little bit less than what the appraisal.
Thank you. Commissioners, audience, my name is Ryan Austin. I'm a graduate from Vanguard University. I'm also working for FEMA, and I've been in the harbor for about 6 or 7 years. And in reference to the 60-foot boat that the previous speaker referred to, what many in the room don't know is that people with private docks can also rent that space out for an enormous income, as much as $6,000 a month for that space. I also would like to draw your attention to the implementation plan that the city presented to the Coastal Commission in 2015 and was approved and certified by the Coastal Commission in 2016. And in this lengthy local coastal program by Newport Beach presented to the state, there's much information to be gleaned from it. Some of the information pertains to the definition of a marina. A marina means a commercial berthing facility other than a mooring or an anchorage. That's what the city stated in the plan. And a marina is a place that is an onshore facility with administrative offices, bathrooms, laundry facilities, storage lockers, picnic areas, snack bars, and Wi-Fi and water and power and so on and so on. So there is a huge difference between when we talk about marina facilities and on the water. On the water, people who typically live on the water are like me. We are very independent-minded. The less we see of a city, the less we see of anybody, the better. We don't need amenities. We don't need anything. We are self-sustaining. We are your frontiers people who would like to live an independent, off-the-grid type of lifestyle. And but the city went on in this extensive plan, and it said there that it will protect the shore moorings and offshore moorings as an important source of low-cost public access to the water and the harbor. Low-cost access, public access to the water and the harbor. This same theme also is reflected in other plans that the city have to draw people to the city. For example, in low-cost hotel facilities. In this one particular plan that the city presented to the state, it mentions to serve all income ranges. And tonight we are standing here looking at a proposed increase that will move a 50-foot boat instead of closer to the $450 per year mark, more closer to the $7,700 or $8,000 mark per year. And we are already overpaying. We should have been refunded the money that we have been charged for the last 10 years over the $450 per year. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening. Don Potenza. Commissioner Beer, something caught my attention. You talked about historically low rates for moorings. You're obviously relying on that flawed appraisal. You did not rely on all of the other mooring fields in California. The mooring field in San Diego that he quoted as going up has not gone up and probably will not go up. They're going to fight it. Okay. Again, you're comparing us to apples and oranges. We're paying way more than the docks. Many boats are going to end up being for sale. My mooring is going to go from $2,200 a year to $9,600 a year. My wife and I are retired. We can't handle that. Don't know how I'm going to pay that until I can sell my boat. I'm trying to sell a boat in a market where there's going to be a flood of boats because people can't afford that. It's going to be impossible. There's going to be a lot of litigation going on of what we're going to do to pay you or not pay you or get the boats out there. The other thing is, I found out through these things that we're going through the CPI or 2%, whichever is lower since 2016. I didn't know that. That's not fair. It should have been CPI. That's what almost everybody else uses. Go back to 2016, put in the CPI rate, and let's use that in the future like almost everything else does. The other thing is, caught my attention that we fund the harbor department. I was around when the sheriff's department took care of everything. And it wasn't any different except for the docks and the building you have that the harbor department has. They're great people, love them. They're doing a great job, but there's a lot of them. What's their budget? Can I ask a question? If not, I'll tell you, 23 to 24, it was 2.44 million. They were 3 permanent employees, 9 temporary employees, and this year they're going to 9 permanent employees and 4.9 temporary employees. And they have 4 inspector leads to 1 inspector that are full-time right now. I worked for government for 37 years. I've seen bureaucracies grow, and that's exactly what's happening here. And it's unnecessary, absolutely unnecessary. Also in the appraisal, it talks about mooring subleases. We can't sublease our moorings without penalty of losing the mooring permit. The vast majority of us don't do it. Don't punish us for the few that have. There's no income to these moorings, there's only expense. I just finished paying just under $1,500 for my 2-year inspection for the mooring. It's expensive. And it's not very, it doesn't have any amenities. I've been driving an 8-foot dinghy across that beach for 40 years. I'm in my 70s now. It gets harder every year, I tell you. But I still do it because I want my family to enjoy the boating. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, Adam Lovrings. The Netzer appraisal report uses terms like assumptions, assuming, limiting conditions, most probable price, hypothetical sites, somewhat imperfect, etc. It states that its conclusions are only quote-unquote opinion. The preparer notes to have personally conducted an inspection of a representative sample of offshore moorings, yet the report doesn't indicate which moorings were inspected, where they were, or how many there were. This puts us trying to formulate arguments at a disadvantage by not knowing the data that he used. On page 10 of the report, it says that there are 12 mooring fields plus 2 associated with yacht basins, but on the same page, the city-owned chart shows 11, and the map, unless you count the anchorage or the harbor patrol, doesn't show 12 either. So does the gentleman not even know how many mooring fields there actually are? There is no active real estate market for the sale of submerged tidelands, Mr. Netzer says. I would point out that there is a market for the sale of mooring permits. This data is included in the report and on the city's website. Mooring permit transfers are a far more comparable data point for comparing submerged lands than are comparisons to slips at marinas or real estate sales of millions and millions of dollars. Moorings have historically been based on lineal foot measurements. Netzer uses both square footage and linear footage measurements in his report. He states that the 40 foot is the typical or most prevalent mooring, and that a boat on a 40-foot mooring is typically 40 by 14 feet. There are very few boats that are rectangular in dimension.